Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into what is, honestly, an absolute paradigm shift in the cybersecurity world. We're talking about a truly groundbreaking deployment by NouchiX involving their KHEPRA protocol. Now, I want you to imagine a flight recorder, but instead of tracking a Boeing 747, it's specifically designed to track, secure, and mathematically prove the actions of autonomous AI. Because let's face it, as AI agents get more powerful and start acting on their own, the big question isn't just how we build them anymore, it's how in the world we secure them against massive quantum-level threats.
So, let's map out exactly what we're covering today. We've got 6 key sections to run through. AI needs a flight recorder, the edge deployment milestone, inside the KHEPRA protocol, securing autonomous AI agents, solving the CMMC deadline, and finally, the future of zero trust.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1. AI needs a flight recorder.
Right off the bat, there's a massive shift happening across enterprise and critical infrastructure environments. AI agents aren't just your standard customer service chatbots anymore. They are gaining serious autonomy. So we really need to ask ourselves this critical question. How do we cryptographically attest to the behavior of autonomous AI agents themselves? Because as we give these agents memory, tools, and native permissions to dive deep into sensitive networks, our old legacy security mindset, it's simply not going to cut it anymore.
Think about the difference here. Legacy security is basically just monitoring static infrastructure. It's like checking the security footage after the bank has already been robbed. But this new paradigm NouchiX is introducing, it's completely proactive. It demands real-time cryptographic provenance. That means we can literally mathematically prove exactly why an AI agent made a specific decision. Combine that with an immutable behavioral replay, and you essentially get a forensic-grade security camera for all your AI workflows.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Edge Deployment Milestone.
Okay, so here is the really exciting part because we are moving out of theory and into reality. This is not vaporware. They actually took their live Phantom node runtime and deployed it on a physical Raspberry Pi 2, connected straight to a totally standard live Spectrum home router. And on this tiny piece of edge hardware, they are running real post-quantum cryptographic, or PQ, signing. They've got directed acyclic graph, or DAG-backed action recording, they're intercepting the model context protocol, and they are doing the whole shebang with an air-gap-capable licensing system.
I mean, the founder really hit the nail on the head in their announcement, stating, not a slide deck, not a simulation, not a coming soon concept, a real deployment. In an industry that is just completely flooded with coming soon cybersecurity promises, this milestone absolutely cuts through the noise. They're proving the post-quantum signing works right now on basic ARM edge hardware. All right, let's get into the mechanics in Section 3, inside the KHEPRA protocol.
So, making all of this edge deployment magic happen is their USPTO patent-pending KHEPRA protocol. KHEPRA actually stands for Kinetic Heuristic Encryption for Perimeter Resilient Agents. It's the core proprietary tech here, and it's basically defining a brand new category, the Agentic Security Attestation Framework, or ASAF.
And the way this protocol works is fascinating. It's basically a continuous zero-trust loop. First up, it uses Adinkra algebraic encoding to create a symbol-bound identity for the agent. Then, every single action is signed using NIST standard post-quantum cryptography. Step 3 is super cool. It applies Lorentz invariant timestamping. This is literally a physics-inspired check to guarantee temporal causality and stop backdated attacks. Finally, it drops everything into an immutable directed acyclic graph, so every AI action is cryptographically signed and causally validated before it even gets the chance to execute.
And I've got to highlight the science and culture behind this because it's brilliant. Traditional cryptography is notoriously a black box, just opaque mathematical operations. But NouchiX uses Adinkra algebraic encoding. They are actually mapping traditional West African Adinkra symbols, which are essentially bipartite graph structures, directly to algebraic groups. This creates explainable cryptography. Every parameter comes from a symbol with semantic meaning, like protection. It completely solves the AI black box problem, because the math itself becomes entirely auditable.
Pivoting over to Section 4, Securing Autonomous AI Agents.
So how does this KHEPRA architecture actually get used in the wild? It splits into 2 highly focused product lines. Product 1 is KHEPRA ASAF, which is basically an automated compliance autopilot and continuous attestation engine. Product 2 is Suhyambu AI, and this is your actual security camera and flight recorder for AI agents, giving you full post-quantum enabled observability.
If we look closer at Suhyambu AI, Just check out what this thing is recording. It captures the AI's actual reasoning, its tool execution, behavioral drift, policy violations, and yes, even prompt injection attempts. All of that data is fed straight into that signed, directed acyclic graph. So if an AI agent goes completely rogue, you aren't just left staring at a useless static log file. You have a forensic-grade, mathematically provable replay of exactly what happened, and more importantly, why it happened.
Which brings us to the massive urgency in Section 5, solving the CMMC deadline.
40%. Honestly, let that sink in for a second. That is the terrifying failure rate defense contractors are currently facing on their first Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, or CMMC assessments. It's a huge problem, and a big reason for this failure is that people are still relying on legacy encryption and these outdated manual spreadsheet compliance methods. They just fall apart under modern DoD scrutiny.
And the clock is literally ticking. The progressive rollout starts in November 2025, and there is already an 18-month backlog for the third-party assessors to actually get these audits done. But the real cliff edge? October 1st, 2026. That is the hard cutoff. If you can't mathematically prove your systems are secure by that date, you are completely locked out of winning new Department of Defense contracts. No exceptions.
And that is exactly where KHEPRA ASAF comes in, to solve this absolute evidence chaos. It takes what the industry jokingly calls audit theater, all those manual spreadsheets, and throws it out the window. It replaces it with continuous attestation. You get DAG-backed, cryptographically provable evidence that any auditor can verify with pure mathematical certainty. You're no longer just promising you're compliant. Your system is constantly proving it at the cryptographic level.
This really all hits home when you look at the team behind it. This quote from the founder and CEO, Sergeant Suhembu Kone, is so powerful. He says, "I've secured DoD networks in Jordan, Kuwait, and CONUS environments where failure meant lives lost. Your compliance isn't just my business, it's my reputation." This isn't just a fun tech idea dreamed up in a Silicon Valley coffee shop. This tech was built by a combat veteran who intimately knows the high-stakes reality of the defense industrial base.
And finally, wrapping things up with Section 6, the future of zero trust.
If we zoom out a bit, this kind of machine speed attestation completely changes the game for the cybersecurity industry. We are finally moving past those slow, static, human-centric roles. KHEPRA creates a continuous authentication loop that operates at literal machine speed. You get multi-layered trust scoring looking at crypto, behavior, and context all at once. Plus, it enables just-in-time privilege escalation that's instantly locked into the DAG, all backed by physics-inspired causal validation.
So here is the absolute core takeaway I want you to leave with today. The next generation of cybersecurity? It's not just going to be about securing devices or perimeters anymore. It is going to be about securing the decisions made by autonomous agents. We are moving from passively monitoring infrastructure to actively attesting to dynamic machine speed behavior.
So, I'm going to leave you with this one last, slightly provocative thought. With the October 2026 CMMC cliff rushing toward us and autonomous AI agents being deployed onto sensitive networks every single day, is your infrastructure mathematically defensible against the quantum threat? Because the era of the AI flight recorder isn't a coming soon pipe dream. As NouchiX just proved on a tiny little Raspberry Pi, it's already here. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep questioning the math behind your security.